Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, 2026 is not waiting for your comfort, it is demanding your commitment. The world will continue to pull at you, drain you, distract you. If you do not choose yourself, someone else will choose for you, and they will never choose your highest good. To put yourself first is not selfish, it is strategic. A warrior does not enter battle exhausted. A builder does not start with a broken foundation. When you neglect your body, your mind, your spirit, everything you touch becomes weaker. Strength is not loud. Strength is consistent. It is built in silence. Through daily decisions, no one applauds. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. Wake up when it is uncomfortable. Train when it is hard. Say no when it would be easier to say yes. Most people live as slaves to their emotions, reacting, complaining, waiting for motivation. You are here to rise above that. You are here to master yourself. Pain will come either way. There is the pain of growth, and there is the pain of regret. One makes you stronger, the other keeps you trapped. Choose wisely. Every repetition, every breath, every focused moment is a vote for the person you are becoming. 2026 is your training ground. Cut distractions, sharpen your habits, strengthen your body, still your mind. When chaos surrounds you, be calm. When others quit, continue. This is how leaders are forged, not through comfort, but through pressure. Now is your call to action. Stand up, commit, decide today that you will no longer betray your potential. Build a routine, protect your energy, train your mind and body every single day. Put yourself first in 2026 and become the person who no longer waits for permission to live with strength, purpose, and unwavering discipline. To put yourself first is not an act of ego, it is an act of responsibility. When you neglect yourself, you become reactive, impatient, and weak under pressure. You start living for expectations that are not yours, chasing approval that never satisfies. Putting yourself first means recognizing that your body is the vehicle, your mind is the weapon, and your discipline is the shield. If any of these are neglected, everything else collapses. You cannot give clarity when you are confused. You cannot give strength when you are exhausted. You cannot give direction when you are lost. Most people misunderstand self-priority because they associate it with comfort. It has nothing to do with comfort. It is about structure. It is about building a life where your energy is protected and your actions are intentional. You choose what deserves your time. You choose what drains you and what strengthens you. This requires saying no without guilt and yes without hesitation. It requires walking away from noise, from chaos, from habits that keep you average. When you put yourself first, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on systems. You train your body not for appearance but for resilience. You sharpen your mind not for praise but for clarity. You regulate your emotions so they no longer control your decisions. This is where confidence is born, not from words but from proof. Proof that you show up, proof that you keep promises to yourself, proof that you can be trusted by your own standards. Self-priority creates inner order. With order comes calm. With calm comes power. You begin to move differently. You speak less but with weight. You react less but with precision. Life does not become easier, but you become harder to break. You stop leaking energy into distractions and start investing it into growth. Every day becomes a training session. Every challenge becomes feedback. Every moment becomes an opportunity.
To refine discipline, focus, and control. Discipline is not something you feel, it is something you decide. Feelings change every hour, discipline remains when emotions fail. Most people wait to feel ready, inspired, confident. That waiting is the trap. Discipline begins the moment you act without agreement from your emotions. It is waking up when your body asks for comfort. It is training when the mind looks for excuses. It is choosing long-term strength over short-term relief. Every act
of discipline is a signal you send to yourself. When you keep that signal consistent, trust is built internally. You stop doubting yourself. You stop questioning whether you can handle pressure because you have proof. Proof is created through repetition. Small, uncomfortable actions done daily create an unshakable foundation. This is how self-respect is formed, not through affirmations, but through execution. Without discipline, potential is wasted energy. Talent means nothing if it is undirected. Discipline gives direction. It organizes chaos. It turns intention into structure and structure into results. You stop reacting to life and start responding with control. Your habits begin to shape your identity. You are no longer someone who tries, you are someone who does. Discipline also teaches restraint. Not every thought deserves action. Not every impulse deserves attention. You learn to pause, to observe, to choose deliberately. This restraint creates mental sharpness. You become harder to manipulate, harder to distract, harder to break. While others look for shortcuts, you accept the long road because you understand its value. Consistency is the true test. Anyone can be intense for a week. Discipline is showing up when progress feels invisible, when the body is tired, when no one is watching. This is where strength compounds quietly, slowly, relentlessly. The world rewards intensity, but it is consistency that creates transformation. Each disciplined choice
reinforces the next, tightening the bond between who you are and who you are becoming.
Pain is unavoidable, but meaning is a choice. Every path demands a price, and avoiding discomfort only postpones payment with interest. Growth pain is honest. It arrives with resistance, effort, and fatigue, but it carries information. It tells you where you are weak, where you must adapt, where you must sharpen yourself. Regret pain is silent at first. It feels like comfort, like rest, like delay. Over time it turns heavy, turning into frustration, bitterness, and self-blame. Most people choose what feels good now and suffer later. They mistake ease for peace and distraction for happiness. The body softens, the mind dulls, the spirit becomes restless. Opportunities pass quietly. Time moves forward without permission. One day you realize that nothing external held you back. It was the accumulation of small avoided struggles, the workout skipped, the conversations avoided, the discipline postponed. Choosing growth pain requires courage. It demands that you step into resistance intentionally. You lift when it burns. You focus when the mind wants escape. You stay present when quitting would be easier. This pain strengthens you because it is aligned with purpose. It refines character. It builds tolerance for pressure. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes manageable, then familiar. Your threshold expands. Regret pain does the opposite. It shrinks you. It keeps you replaying past decisions, imagining different outcomes, wishing for another chance. It offers no progress, only reflection without movement. It drains energy without giving strength. This pain does not teach, it haunts, and it grows stronger the longer it is ignored. The difference between these two pains is timing and intention. One is chosen early, the other arrives later. One forges discipline, the other feeds doubt. One builds momentum, the other creates stagnation. Every day you decide which pain you are willing to carry. In every moment of hesitation, in every moment of comfort, a future version of you is either being strengthened or disappointed. 2026 is not a promise, it is a proving ground. It will expose what you practice and punish what you pretend. Pressure is not the enemy, it is the test that reveals your level of preparation. When life accelerates, only structure keeps you stable. Without routine, the mind scatters. Without training, the body hesitates. Without clarity, decisions spinot without. When toss comes and
become reactions. The share demands order.
Cutting distractions is not about removing pleasure. It is about reclaiming attention. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, every hour lost to mindless consumption weakens your focus. Focus is power. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. When you choose to protect it, progress becomes inevitable. Silence becomes productive. Solitude becomes strength. Sharpening habits is the quiet work. No applause, no recognition, repetition, without excitement. But habits are the architecture of identity. What you do daily shapes how you think, how you move, how you respond under stress. Training the body builds endurance. Training the breath builds control. Training the mind builds clarity. These practices ground you when chaos surrounds you. They give you a center that cannot be shaken. Stillness is not weakness. In a loud world, calm is dominance. When others rush, you observe. When others panic, you breathe. This calm allows precision. You act when it matters, not when emotions demand. Leadership is not volume, it is stability. People follow those who remain composed under pressure. When others quit, it is rarely because they lack ability. It is because they lack patience. Growth is slow, results lag behind effort. Many abandon the process right before the breakthrough. Continuing when motivation fades is the mark of commitment. Commitment turns repetition into mastery. Mastery turns effort into confidence. Every challenge faced without retreat strengthens resolve. Every obstacle becomes training. Every setback becomes data. Under pressure, discipline becomes instinct, and instinct becomes identity. Commitment is not a feeling, it is a decision that removes alternatives. The moment you truly commit, hesitation loses its voice. There is no debate, no negotiation, no waiting for better conditions. Most people live with one foot forward and one foot back, constantly preparing to quit if discomfort appears. Commitment closes that exit. It forces alignment between thought and action. Building a routine is not about rigidity, it is about reliability. A routine creates a rhythm your mind and body can trust. When you wake, move, train, and focus at consistent times, resistance decreases, decision fatigue disappears. You no longer rely on willpower, you rely on structure. Structure creates freedom because it removes chaos. You know what must be done, and you do it regardless of mood. Protecting your energy is an act of awareness. Not every battle deserves engagement. Not every opinion deserves response. Energy wasted on drama, comparison, and validation is energy stolen from growth. You begin to notice what drains you and what strengthens you. You distance yourself from what pulls you backward, even when it is familiar. This distance creates space for focus and clarity. Daily training is non-negotiable. The body is not separate from the mind. Physical exertion sharpens mental resilience. Breath control regulates emotion. Repetition builds confidence. Training daily is not about intensity, it is about consistency. Even on low days you show up. This creates identity. You become someone who does not skip, someone who adapts instead of stopping. Deciding to stop betraying your potential is an internal shift. You stop lying to yourself. You grows. You trust yourself under pressure. You move with purpose. You no longer seek permission or validation. Discipline becomes automatic. Effort becomes natural. The gap between who you are and who you are capable of being begins to close through repeated intentional action taken without hesitation. Putting yourself first is not a single decision. It is a continuous practice of alignment. Every day you are faced with choices that either reinforce your standards or erode them. The smallest decisions matter more than the dramatic ones. What you tolerate becomes your baseline. What you repeat becomes your identity. When you raise your standards, life responds with resistance. That resistance is confirmation that you are moving upward. Clarity comes from subtraction. You begin to remove what no longer serves your direction. Outdated beliefs, comfort-driven habits, relationships that feed distraction instead of growth. This process is uncomfortable because it demands honesty. You are forced to see where you have been undisciplined, where you have been inconsistent, where you have compromised. Awareness sharpens accountability. Accountability sharpens action. As alignment strengthens, momentum builds. You stop drifting. You stop reacting to circumstances. Your actions become deliberate. Time is no longer something that happens to you, it becomes something you use. You approach each day with intention. Not rushed, not passive, present and controlled. This presence becomes grounded. You do not need to announce your discipline. It is visible in your posture, your speech, your decisions. Pressure no longer destabilizes you, it sharpens you. Challenges stop feeling personal and start feeling instructional. You move forward without urgency, without hesitation, without the need to prove anything. Your focus narrows, your resolve deepens, your actions begin to reflect a person who knows exactly where they are going and why they are willing to endure whatever is required to get there. Presence increases efficiency. Less effort is wasted, less energy is leaked. Internal leadership replaces external motivation. You no longer need reminders, speeches, or validation to stay on course. Your standards guide you. When faced with temptation, you measure it against your direction. When faced with difficulty, you measure it against your capacity to endure. This creates emotional stability. You are no longer pulled in every direction by impulse. Strength becomes quiet, confidence